Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Now, this is something I've done this. I mean, this is at least the third. I'd have to look, but this is at least the third year when Memorial Day rolls around. Right? I couldn't do this on Memorial Day because I had family had come over, and here it is. It's 12:15, right, in the morning, right, and the family I had coming over on my wife's side. The people are absolutely fantastic, but they go to bed early, right? And here it is. I said it's after 12 o'clock, and I'm still up and I'm still talking. And actually, where they're sleeping at would be right above me. So as I'm speaking and talking, I'd be keeping them up, and also I am. So the family, my wife's family that was here for about 5 days or so, they went back home. Okay, so that's why now I'm doing this. But I've done this at least the third season. There's two guys, Al Blozis and Jack Lummis. I was, on Memorial Day, I always pay tribute to these two guys. But that's why Al Blozis. That's why you'll notice there's no Giants that wear number 32. They retired his number. These two guys, Blozis and Lummis, they passed away, and they gave their life in World War II, right? But the first guy here, Al Blozis, I mean, he was basically a giant among men. He was 6'6", 250 pounds. He was a tackle, and he was an unbelievable athlete, unbelievable. He could have been one of the all-time greats, really. But when it came time to serve, he wanted to serve his country. We were in war, but because of his size, he had a very, very hard time of getting in. Very hard time getting in. All right, we got here. So he was born, Al Blozis, on January 5th, 1919, in New Jersey. Let's see. He was very good at track and field. Became known for his discus throw and shot put. At Georgetown University, he won a couple of indoor events or titles, shot put titles, 3 years in a row from 40 to 42. Indoor and outdoor shot put titles. He had a best shot put of 57 feet 3/4 inches. In 2015, Blozis was inducted into the National Track and Field Hall of Fame. Now, Blozis was drafted in the 5th round of the 1942 NFL draft and played offensive tackle for the Giants in 42 and 43 before entering the military. He was also to play in 3 games in 1944 while on furlough. Now, he was a first team All-Pro in 1943. He was an NFL All-Star in 1942. He only played basically in 2 seasons, and he was so good. He was in the NFL's 1940s All-Decade team. He only played 2 seasons. Okay. He was in the New York Giants Ring of Honor. Number 32 has been retired, and let's hope it stays retired. He was a first-team All-Eastern in 1941. He went into the Army. The Giants retired as number 32. A second player, actually, Jack Lummis, who I'm going to talk about, also died in World War II as well. Now I'm going to go over this a little bit more in depth and detail here, but with Al Blozis here, The very size that made him so intimidating on the football field kept him out of the military until late 1943, when after repeated attempts, Blozis finally persuaded the Army to waive the size limit and accept him. It took further persuading to get him from a desk job to the front lines. They gave him a desk job. He's like, I came here to fight for my country. Right? Blozis was inducted into the United States Army on December 9, 1943. He was first assigned to duty as a physical instructor at the Walter Reed General Hospital, and then went through officer training at Fort Benning, where he set this is freaking unbelievable. He set the Army's hand grenade throwing record with a toss of 94 yards, 2 feet, 6.5 inches. He threw a hand grenade almost the length of a football field, which is freaking crazy. If you know how heavy a hand grenade is. Unbelievable. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 28th Infantry Division. On January 31st, 1945, his platoon was in the mountains of France, scouting enemy lines, scouting the Germans. When 2 of his men, a sergeant and a private, failed to return from a patrol, he went in search of them alone. He never returned. Now I'm going to read this over. This is a little more in depth and detail here. Now, there's what happened was, whoa, love your show. Thank you. You got it, brother. Hey, do it up, brother. Do it up. Hoping to grow my podcast more and more. Yeah. You just got to keep doing it. Stay in there with it, brother. Stay in there with it. But with Al Blozis, what they have in Wikipedia, right, is that a couple of his men left. He never came back, and he went out to look for him. And there was no in-depth and detail of exactly what happened, although his bullet-riddled body was found a couple months later that confirmed his death. But there's a letter that was written by one of the guys that served under Al, that wrote in depth and detail exactly how he gave it his all. So there's a letter here I'm going to read, and hopefully I don't frickin' break up on this, because some of this crap just frickin' kills me. So, but I'm going to read this letter here. Okay. All right, let me read it here. Okay, here we go. Early in 1945, one of the patrols under Al's command did not return. Al went to search for them, and he never returned from that mission. Blozis was killed by German machine gun fire during the search, which was part of the Battle of Black Mountain in the mountains of near Colmar. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Colmar, France. This account, there's an account of a letter written by somebody who went looking for. This is a letter sent to a now defunct website that appears to have been saved by the Georgetown University, and we are thankful and will show it in its entirety. Guy who wrote this was Paul Lambert. My name is Paul Lambert, and I just stumbled on your website and story of Al Blozis. It was very interesting to me because I was one of the 4 he went looking for. I remember the day he led us down to the little village in the valley below. It was my birthday. There were 12 of us, but a German sniper wounded one of the men just before we reached the little village. I was a machine gunner. Al sent me and 3 others to the furthest outpost. I don't know where he sent the other 7, but evidently they all got out of there safely. As soon as we got to the place where we were supposed to set up the machine gun, a big old farmhouse at the end of the valley, a German sniper got one of my 3 buddies and killed them. That left only 3 of us to manage that gun 24 hours a day for 5 days. We were pretty much exhausted and just about out of ammo and food. On that last day, I knew I had to get back to the command post that Al had set up in a little schoolhouse at the bottom of the mountain where we entered the village. It was snowing and visibility was next to 0. I left my two buddies to man the gun and took off very cautiously toward the command post about a quarter mile away. In the dense snow, as I got about halfway, I saw a huge form advancing toward me. Now, let's not forget, Al Blozis was 6'6". He was 250, so he wasn't, but he was 6 foot. He was a big freaking dude. I stopped with my pistol ready and then suddenly realized it was Lieutenant Blozis, and he recognized me. I was about to say something, but he motioned to me to be quiet. Just then, there was a blast from a German machine gun, and Lieutenant Blozis fell backwards to the ground. I carefully crawled on my stomach to him. There. But he was dead. He had several bullet holes in his body. I could do nothing except getting back to my outpost. I knew nothing about what was happening to my company. When I got back, I told my two surviving buddies what had happened. We didn't know what to do because we had no orders or any communications. We knew that we just couldn't desert our post. If we didn't get help very soon, we were garnished because the Germans were not taking any prisoners. Just toward evening, an old man from the village came to us and told us that we had to get out of there because our comrades had all left. He told us we were surrounded by Germans, and he pointed out the only chance we had of getting out of there. He showed us the direction to go and where to start climbing back over the mountain. That was the least German-infested route. It took us 4 nights of climbing in waist-high snow to get over the mountaintop and over to the American side. We only had to kill 1 German soldier on the way out. The rest of the story is long, and I won't get into it. However, I will say we were able to get back to our outfits just in time to join the big attack on Colmar. The ironic part of the story is that as we were advancing under the artillery fire from the Germans, I was alongside Lieutenant Blozis' replacement, Lieutenant Johns. Now, it was his first time in battle. I had to stop along the road to adjust one of my shoes that was hurting me. A few seconds later, an artillery shell came in just on top of the new lieutenant, and it instantly killed him. There is no one else that knows the end of the story except one buddy who I know is still living somewhere in Texas. These are the facts. Lieutenant Blozis was a real American hero who would never leave any of his men under any circumstances. Now you know the whole story. I'm 83 years old, and I would hate to have died and taken this with me. So that was, that crap just freaking kills me, man. But that was Al Blozis. Now there's 2 guys that gave it their all. I mean, and this other story is just Jack Loomis is just as crazy as that one was. But it just goes to show you, I mean, the guy, he could have, he got into, because of his size, they didn't want him, right? So he fought to get in. And they're like, all right, we'll take you. You sit down at a desk over here, okay? You got the desk job, nice and cushy, right? And when the war's over, you can go home and play some football. He didn't want that. He didn't want that. He was one of the best players in the NFL at the time, one of the best tackles at the time. And Mel Hein, okay, who played with him. Mel Hein was 1938 was the NFL MVP as a center. He played like middle guard too, like a middle kind of linebacker, but he was the NFL MVP as a center. That don't happen very often, right? So Mel Hein, who played with him, said, Al Blozis could have possibly one of been the greatest tackles of all time. So, so he could have came back in 1945. The war was over. July or August of 45, Al Blozis would have started playing football in 1945, right? Giants 1946, we went to the championship game. So, so he had some good times in front of him. He could have made some money, played some football. Heck, he could have been in the Hall of Fame. He didn't want that, right? So what he did? He sent some guys out, and he went out looking for him, right? Gave his life, right? So that's Al Blozis, and his number 32 is retired by the Giants. That's why you never see number 32 ever worn.